So by attacking me right here, actually, and giving me this opportunity to use the watchtower, to use the peons, yeah, you're giving the losing opponent their only out. And this is my only out, to be fair. My only out is if my opponent bungles this attack. So let's make it happen, right? Hello everybody and welcome to another Warcraft 3 video, and you better believe it has been tough out there on the ladder. Been trying to find time to experiment with strategies, but also, get a little meta ready, meta sure, right? There are some really tough opponents on the W3 Champions ladder, and big part of getting better at the game is respecting those opponents, right? So say, for example, you can already see, right? You may have noticed some of this gameplay. Nick, your peon micros, yes, it is, right? I consider this a warm-up game, my first game of the day. I remember when I started playing these. And there's always a little bit of anxiety when the game first starts. It's almost as if it feels like I forgot how to play Warcraft 3, even though, it's playing this game for so long. Some streamers, some players, they have the ability to play every day, right? Like maybe it's because of their time schedule, or maybe they just have the sensibility. But me, come on, get on that. Yeah, nice peon. But me, I often have to find games, in between work or in between, my responsibilities this or there. So I like to try to make those games count, at least count in the ways that I want to improve, right? For example, I've been trying to improve my macro in the form of not looking at my base when I build units. And I've also been trying to improve, like I mentioned earlier, my ability to play standard, not just rely on some cheesy strategies every now and then. So I suppose let's get into it, right? The game's about to start. You see my build here. I go for the War Mill just so I don't get overwhelmed by enemy headhunters. I've noticed sometimes on ladder, Orc versus Orc has always the risk of just Farseer mass headhunters and you getting overwhelmed. I prefer to go Blademaster in Orc versus Orc. Why? Simply because of this. Oh, this is messed up micro there, but the circlet. I like getting the circlet with Blade quick. You're normally not supposed to take damage there, but hey, this is what happens. We're on the ladder. We're playing it live. And you see my build here allows for a grunt and a headhunter. So I should be building a headhunter right now, and yes, I do. So it's a little grunt headhunter build into the second burrow. If you see here, my choice here is just to chase the Farseer. So I eventually get lucky, run into him again, and I'm just chasing the Farseer, trying to do some damage as much as I can. And my opponent, well, you should be teching right now too, Dito. It's about that time. Late tech on my opponent, doing nothing but slow them down. All of this unnecessary micro here. Let's take a look. So you see my opponent is spending time microing, and you just now get to the tech. So definitely could have been faster on the tech there. My tech wasn't necessarily the fastest as well, but faster, even though my build actually had some slowdowns with the Voodoo Lounge and everything. But back to the gameplay, it's just chase the Farseer. And I would like to say this is when it was a good choice to go Blademaster, because, who knows how it happened, but my opponent just keeps taking unfavorable trades like that. Not good, right? If you're going to run away with the Farseer, run away. Don't do these half steps, because every little attack lets me get in these wind walks, and yeah, we're going to get a dead Farseer here. Could have TP'd, but ultimately why, right? Let's just say, for example, he TP's. I don't have a wind walk. He TP's safe, but there's no Voodoo Lounge. So my opponent, so this is the thing, due to my opponent's poor macro, you not only have a later tech than me, but you don't even have a Voodoo Lounge, so you can be behind and you don't even know it, and that's one of the ways. So rather than try to face the indignity of fighting into burrows, we opt into creeping here. And the moment I see headhunters, this is a nice little move by me, I think, choosing the Blademaster to go solo on the headhunters while I continue to creep, right? Oh, feels bad to get a level up in the opponent's face. So let's pick up the item, keep it going. Nice replenishment potion. And I don't know about y'all, but I like one grunt into mass headhunters when you're going Blademaster, as opposed to just bunch of mass headhunters, because like You know, the Blademaster alone is just going to take too much damage if he's the only melee target. I feel like the grunt there, it's subtle, but it matters. Replenishment Potion doing really good work here. Nice little gimme. You can wind walk, and so you use the replenishment potion and then wind walk. That allows me to be getting the healing here, but still kind of be in the game, in the environment here. My grunt is trying to get in, but nice little attempt to block the grunt there with the... Now I would really prefer if I don't lose the grunt. That would be ideal. Do we not lose the grunt? Oh yeah, we get the deny. Thunk. Okay. So good deny here, and my headhunters are healthy, healthier than his. And if you notice, this whole game has really just been kind of little tiny advantages, bits and pieces there. You know, we get another productive headhunter snipes, but we are running out of resources health-wise, so just get some trades in here. Why not do damage? In a perfect scenario, we lose no headhunters here, but we're trying to push it, right? We're trying to get some experience on the wolves. I know that my HP can kind of bait him into giving me some experience on wolves. We probably try to get another headhunter here. Oh, come on, one more headhunter. Nice, we got that last headhunter here. So, you know, we're really pushing it, but now I don't think we can get level 3. We got to run. Yeah, we pushed it a little too far, and we lost headhunters. So, now what is my macro doing? So, I guarantee I was doing some base stuff back then. So, let's see. Little trick, you can hold down Control-C and see what your micro is. So, look at that. I tried to be sneaky with the kill there, but ultimately, maybe I should have went Healing Wave here, right? Healing Wave would have really allowed me to stay here, but Hex going for the kill. Greedy. Oh, my opponent really capitalizes on my mistake here. So, I'm glad we're going over these games, because there's this topic I've been wanting to talk about lately when it comes to Warcraft 3, and it's how to lose a game of Warcraft 3 that you're already winning, right? This is how you do it, right? One way to lose is to carelessly lose units, losing a unit to using a grunt, using a headhunter. So really think about that. I went from having a huge lead, don't you remember? I had 5 headhunters killing things, to losing my shadow hunter, losing that grunt to hex, almost losing the troll headhunter here, and having a Blademaster forced to run all the way back home. So my good early game was really threatened by how to lose a Warcraft 3 game. You stay longer than you need to, right? So say, for example, I had this good aggression. I could have left without losing a headhunter, right? That would have had me a huge advantage. But now the game is pretty much, I'd say, got back into parity. I'd say my opponent did a really good job of getting back to even layer here. But we're going to see some nice Kodo Beast value. So let's continue going. A little too slow to get the Windwalk damage, but we do get the Creepjack, as in lots of damage on the Farseer here. Love to see it. Nice thing about Farseer Shadow Hunter is that you can sometimes get burst damage like this. I didn't quite expect this. Bam, Hex into Chain Lightning. Now, if you're a fan of the old head, if you're a fan of the working man's Warcraft 3, you're not feeling too good right now. You're like, man, you just lost your Blademaster. They're now level 2, level 2. I went from winning this game to like, what? And I'm still trying to get this Farseer kill. So you can see my own tunnel vision here. I'm just trying to get the Farseer kill. I do get a Devourer off on the Headhunter, but this isn't very good Warcraft 3 here. And one of the win usage by my opponent's suspect, but I was waiting in on a Blademaster buyback. Level 2 Blademaster, that's not very efficient buyback, but sometimes you just got to get in that brawl. Look at me trying to micro the Kodo to get the last kill on the Headhunter. Can't do it, actually, but we do get some kills, and this Kodo is actually getting me another kill with the Headhunter. So even going back on it, I like how my Grunt got this kill here. Remember how we said how to lose a game of Warcraft 3? Push too much. Ask yourself, should I be losing the Grunt here? Nah, I don't think so. I think that Grunt should have been microed back. Should I really even be here? Potentially, but I also could just be creeping. Nice kill on the Farseer, but this is a dangerous game I play, right? Risk losing a Kodo for no reason. Glad the Kodo decides to run back. And now we're just doing it live. Let's see if my Blademaster... I like my decision to go mirror image here. You know, I had a level up I could choose, and I chose to go mirror image because in this scenario, my opponent was just trying to focus my Blademaster, so I figured I could stay longer by going mirror image. And it turns out, I mean, it seems like a pretty good idea. I feel as if my Blademaster probably would have got focused down and killed if I didn't go mirror image, but mirror image makes it a difficult micro in that situation. And then bam, before you know it, thanks to, honestly, the tankiness of the Kodo. Not only did the Kodo devour the Spirit Wolf there just to get him off my back, but the Kodo also devoured the Headhunter. The Kodo is trying to devour the Raider there, but look how bad the pathing is. Oh my god, come on, Kodo. But the Kodo gets another devour on the Grunt. So man, this Kodo value is huge if you think about it, right? Like, it's just been helping me out a lot. And we're able to stay here. And we're just getting kills on Raiders. Nice. At this point, this is when, you've chosen Farseer and things are getting out of control because the Blademaster is now level 3. We're zooming up a bit simply because we don't need to necessarily watch a Blademaster DPS to discern why that's good. But this is what happens, right? Your Farseer opponent's out of mana, and the DPS from the Farseer stems from his mana. So because your DPS from the Blademaster stems from just living, you can sometimes push the advantage in kind of grindy ways here. My opponent really just wishes I would run back to base and give them a chance to get back mana, but nah, we are deciding to push the advantage here. So, but when do you run back, you know? Because again, how do you lose in Warcraft 3? I feel as if me staying here, there's a chance I could just win here, but no, there's also, this is how you lose, right? The only way I lose this game is if my heroes die right here, right? No TPs, no anything. Scary stuff. My opponent's fighting back valiantly with the pot. I get the switch here on the Farseer, and thankfully, man, that TP, saving it for a rainy day, honestly the best use of it. Hats off to my opponent for really pushing me to my limit here. Again, look at these heroes. There's so, another opportunity to lose the game. If my opponent, like, just, I don't know, speed scrolled, mana potion, chain lightning, like, just really kind of out micros me here, this could easily, you know, lose. Unfortunately, I lose a Raider here because I'm trying to get some ensnare to cancel the salve. But, oh man, see this game, and I lose another Raider. So before you know it, again, we're in a situation where we're running back, retreating. If there ever was a game for back, right? This is how sometimes my decision to play standard punishes me. If I was just doing my normal back experimentation, I probably would have won this game already because back would have been feeding me resources. But this is where we, you know, the rubber meets the road. The rubber meets the road here. My opponent is attempting to creep because they know they're a little behind. But when you're ahead, I often say you want to win more. Win more items. Showing up with a potion of mana and a potion of healing is a win more situation. I already had a lot of gold. I already had a lot of units. So yeah, at this point, I say the game is pretty much over. And this Kodo, talk about value. Another Devour. So if you do the math, the Kodo's got a Headhunter, a Grunt, a Spirit Wolf, another Grunt, and it's honestly because I built the Kodo first, and we just end the game with some towers here, so GG, love to see it, right? Just a slow, methodical kind of push back and forth. But alright, so would you believe it or not, though, we get faced with the same opponent. Yes, it's the exact same Orc mirror. So let's, you know, what can we learn from that? My opponent, ever polite, Dito. How nice. Going for that Bear Exalter Storm, and am I going something similar? No, it looks like I'm going for just Headhunters. Wanted to go that Headhunter build, so we get the Warmill first, Voodoo Lounge as well. We're going Blademaster, Headhunters. A part of me, because this was the direct run back after that Farseer Blademaster game, a part of me likes to switch it up a bit. You know, I was thinking about going Farseer. But then, as I realized, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now check out my build here. This is actually a choice of mine. I've been trying to play around with, like, how do you best construct the Orc base? This aggressive burrow here, right? Like, this is something I've been trying to pick up from Grubby and Noff streams. They sometimes put an aggressive burrow. But I'm trying to take it further. Like, what happens if I just, like, build walls and block off certain areas of the map, almost similar to the way Human uses a blacksmith. By the way, check out my build here as well, as in my creep route. This is called the Tome farming route. So I got the Tome of Agility +2. Go for the crab. And I think I misroute myself a little bit here. If I was way faster, you can actually, with level 1 Windwalk, go to the second crab as well. Look, go to the, and I can get that hit in, but I'm just a little too slow, see? A little too slow. and I don't get the windwalk. But you are able to kill both spider crabs here, both level 3s, and it's just an interesting little optimization, I think, because not only does, look, he's trying to creep these as well, but I've already stole. But I'm also able to get the Tome of Strength. So this Blademaster is secretly pretty powerful. Tome of Strength +2, Tome of Agility +2, and Circlet. This is a level 2 Blademaster, but my Blademaster is stronger. Isn't that cool? I just, for some reason, enjoy the creep routes in Orc versus Orc that are like only focusing on building a better Blademaster, right? Like this route is very elusive. My opponent doesn't know where I am, and the Headhunter here choice, by the way. If I didn't have the Headhunter, this is such a dangerous route. I've already kind of surmised my opponent isn't playing Windwalk Blademaster because I haven't seen them at all. And there's also, I haven't scouted yet, so I believe at this point I'm thinking my opponent is still Farseer. But look at this risky build, insane. But thankfully, you know, we do have Voodoo Lounge first. And real talk, when I saw this, I assumed it was a real Blademaster. Too busy micro-aim. So you look at the over-exaggeration I'm doing. He's going to put in the peon there, cancel myself, smart. And I get that Blademaster dead. But how much do I wait? Good, good. Pretty fast there. Looking for my opponent. Oh no, where are they? So in my head I'm reading, are you the Farseer? No, you're Mirror Image Blademaster. So okay, you have to make a quick decision there. You see Mirror Image Blademaster versus your Windwalk Blademaster. I'm going for your grunt. Go for your grunt. He gets the Headhunter kill. I'm currently being out microed because my opponent has the blades, claws of attack. So my opponent does a smart move here. I think this is where he gets Boots of Speed. Yeah, Boots of Speed. This Boots of Speed is going to prove nice for him. Lucky crit! Yes, Lucky crit gets the grunt. Interesting situation. I could have played this better. I should have just been Cloak of Shadows the whole time. But I used Cloak of Shadows. He used Dust. But I still Windwalk. I attack the creeps and then Windwalk because the creeps don't see me. Only he's dusted. So you might as well attack the creeps and then get this kill, right? Come on, get that head under. One more. Yes, but what do I do? Uh-oh, I didn't scout correctly. I didn't see that he had Boots of Speed. So that's a dead Blademaster, right? Unfortunate. Ay, ay, ay. So at this point, the game is lost. All hope is lost, right? Like, this is the worst thing ever. The same opponent who I had a pretty close match with in the Blademaster versus Blademaster. My Blademaster is dead. And on top of that, it's not even like they're going Windwalk Blademaster. They're going Mirror Image Blademaster. So it's even later game. This is a certified old head move. How to creep when your hero's dead, right? When you really have nothing to do and your hero is dead, you gotta find a way to creep. Either way, right? So here's just some stalling, procrastination creeping, right? I'm trying to creep these safe camps to as low health as possible without accidentally, I'm killing them, right? Because my Blademaster wants to come back. And at this point, it's too risky. I don't want to kill any of those. So what do? Well, let's keep creeping, right? Because we need to keep creeping because we need to catch up. They're creeping, and they have a level 3 Blademaster. So my poor, pathetic level 2 Blademaster is going to do some power creeping. One turtle, bam. You get an ogre, bam. You get a troll, bam. You get another turtle, bam. You get one more troll, bam. And you see, and we also micro there. So just a little bit of creeping strategy here to really push it to the level and make up for the fact that my hero died there. So we're able to now have a level 3 Blademaster, and they have a level 3 Blademaster as well. So if we weren't doing that, just a little extra bit of try-hardness, my opponent comes to my base now, definitely level 3. Maybe I would be creep jacked or something. My opponent has already crept this too, so I'm not feeling very good right now. In my little head, I'm thinking, uh-oh, behind in hero levels and Orc v Orc. So what do? Let's get aggressive. I'm of the firm believer that when you're behind, you gotta start taking risks. Now, not the biggest of risks, but I think correct risks. This is, I think, a correct risk. I don't know why my opponent would be on this side of the map. Probably be on this side. And I get the scout here, so now I see him, so I know I must finish. Miss micro the dragon here, by the way. You're supposed to pull the dragon and then attack it. I did that for the first half, but look how much extra health this dragon gets back. At least 200 extra HP that I have to redo DPS on. But we do get that kill, get the Robe of the Magi. You know I'm putting that on my Shadowhunter. And check it out. We had that unique base build. Don't you remember we said we were doing something different with the base build? Well, here it comes. It's a very fortified way to protect the Voodoo Lounge. It's very fortified, creates this little path into my base here. And turns out this Watchtower helps me out a lot. So I'm able to get some extra time on the bestiary here. Just repair, and eventually it goes down. So, I've stalled as much as I can, right? Thankfully, I've stalled to a level 3 Blademaster, level 2 Shadowhunter. I was behind, right? If I would have tried to fight him, level 1 Shadowhunter, level 2 Blade, bad. But here it comes. We have that early Kodo. Again, we did the same decision last game. Let's see how it does. We decide to go on his Shadowhunter. We're out of position, and that's what Windwalk does best. But he has the Invuln Potion. So my Headhunter is just getting murked here, but so are theirs. And we decide to go back on the Shadowhunter. So we feel good right now. The moment I knew he wasn't putting pressure on my Shadowhunter, I realized my victory condition in this was to, like, beat his. Thankfully, I do also have the Potion of Invuln, and I can protect my Shadowhunter. And when the Walker comes out, I finally can do something against the Mirror Image. I get 1 disenchant, but look at that! Unfortunate. The Mirror Image practically surrounds my Shadowhunter. And guys, the OLED isn't feeling good. At this point, I'm feeling, oh my god, again? Why do I always get behind on games it feels like I was originally doing well at? So we are eventually getting some more experience, thankfully to the Spirit Walker Adept upgrade. Very important, I think, to get Spirit Walker Adept versus the enemy Blademaster with Mirror Image. Quick note, I do buy salve before the Voodoo Lounge is broken there. That's an important note. And I'm trying to kill the Raiders. When you don't have Raiders, you want to kill the other opponent's Raiders, because Ensnare versus no Ensnare is very tough to micro here. I really can't lose my Blademaster, so thankfully I have Windwalk mana. And this is just tough. I need to run my units away, because I just don't want to feed them, and I instead want my opponent to deal with the burrows and the fortified tower here. So thankfully the salve, right? Glad I bought the salve before the Voodoo Lounge is destroyed. The unit I need more than anything right now is Spirit Walkers and my Shadowhunter. So thankfully, you know, the real meat and value of my base is the burrows, right? And they're being protected by my base layout. You know, the Watchtower is getting so much DPS in that now is a good time to move back in my units. And what did I say? This video is like, if we're learning one thing from it, it's how to lose. You stay longer than you should. Oh, is my Blademaster dead? Oh, no. So look at this. Staying longer than you should. My opponent is just wanting to win right now. And I feel like, man, should they be winning? They should just win the game. Most of the times, I would be GGing right now. But thankfully, my opponent stayed a little too long. And their units are a little too red. And they don't have enough healing. So even though my Blademaster is dead, even though it's 5 versus 2, this is not in my opponent's best interest. I am fighting with the aid of these defenses. I'm fighting with the aid of my Voodoo Lounge here. My macro here, I'm telling you, I'm overwhelmed right now. Check me out. Trying to manually salve here. I bet I'm clicking. I don't even think I'm using hotkeys at this point. Now, you do need to start auto-attacking. You can't just let them get in for free. You have ranged units, get in there. So that's exactly what I start doing, right? Yeah, let's unephemeral. And I'm just spamming walkers right now because legitimately, until the Blademaster reskills, my entire game plan is just, well, he just isn't allowed to mirror image. The moment he does that, I must get experience. So watch. I think you're going to see this right here. Mirror image? No, you just need to immediately disenchant. It would have been better if I hexed faster, but now the tides are turning, right? Look at this Watchtower. Look at this Burrows. I have this defensive build that's actually... My opponent's just taking too much damage. I totally understand why my opponent wants to stay here. It's a frustrating situation, but man, it's an orc versus orc. Just expand. Right, just expand. My opponent wins here if they just expand because I'm on the back foot. The only productive thing I can do is defend favorably. Think about that. The only productive thing I can do is defend favorably. So if you remove the attack and you instead just go expand, just go creep the map, just go creep your Shadowhunter to 5, well, I have no army. I have no map presence. I actually can't stop that. So by attacking me right here, actually, and giving me this opportunity to use the Watchtower, to use the peons, yeah, you're you're giving the losing opponent their only out. And this is my only out, to be fair. My only out is if my opponent bungles this attack. So let's make it happen, right? We decide to bring in the peons. Now, is it a strategic choice to bring in the peons? Yes, but it's also a little bit of micro, right? I see my opponent is focusing the Shadow Hunter, but I already bought 2 potions of mana, right? I think that's a really good thing in the Orc versus Orc mirror. Shadow Hunter mana and what the Shadow Hunter is able to do is a big deal. And this is like a good situation for me because while it looks like my opponent is winning, wait, you're not. You're actually, look at the burrows, look at the damage, the Spirit Walk battles, right? Spirit Walk battles often come out in these very low HP situations, and before you know it, that game that you were winning turns into one that you weren't. So almost get his Blademaster kill there, right? I really try to get a fast hex. He eventually does reskill, by the way, so this is the stage of the game where my opponent is no longer a mirror image Blademaster. It is a Windwalk Blademaster. So you have to keep that in mind, be quick on the hexes. And yeah, I can't let my opponent heal here for free. Going in, doing some damage here, and you see I have clawed back out of a situation that seemed pretty dire, and will I make the same mistake? Let's see. It's easy to talk about this now when we're watching the replay, but when you're in the game, you feel like, oh, it's time for me to win, it's time for me to win, right? That's what I'm feeling right now. It's time for me to win. I used the invuln. I thought I was fast enough on the invuln soul, but I wasn't fast at all, right? Here's something you need to do. If you have an invuln pot, try to get into the habit of the moment you invuln solve as well. I tried to do it, but I was so slow I barely got any regen. So look, he comes at me again, and I already have an invisibility potion. I use the invisibility potion. You think I'm alive, but no. Miss micro. I just get out of the invis, and now my Shadow Hunter's dead, right? So look at this. I'm doing exactly what I know is the way to lose games. You give your opponents ability to fight back valiantly, and that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there trying to focus the Kodo. Meanwhile, I'm losing headhunters. I'm losing my units. I'm fighting with 2 peons. Yeah. If my opponent plays this correctly, all of a sudden I'm looking bad. But thankfully, my opponent gets stuck with some walkers in ephemeral form. And look, I'm able to get some free damage here with mine out of it. Free damage, getting that kill. And I think I get this kill too. Very nice, right? I think I get this kill as well. No, burrow down. Do I get this last walker? No, I don't. So this is a man, slobber knockover game. And here it is, the counter throw. So shout outs to you, Umtito. This set of matches we had, we're both doing that Orc versus Orc thing about, can I finish the game? No, burrows are strong. Can you finish the game? No, burrows are strong. But what about me? Can I finish the game? No, burrows are strong. So, you know, let's see how then this game is eventually decided. My opponent successfully scouts my expansion using the crystal ball. And I think looking back on the replay, my opponent is outplaying me now. I'm literally forgetting that Fountain of Health exists on this map, truly. Whereas my opponent is not. I'm sitting there, you know, trying to heal up, trying to get my army back, and my opponent is just easily free, everything full HP. So, kind of a bad situation for me right now. And he especially, look, my opponent catches me out. I'm in the middle of micro, shop micro, not my best micro. So I just am caught flat-footed here. Bam, Kodo goes down, and we're back in it with the peons. I really think my decision to fight with the peons won me the game here. Now, would I have rather fought with my lumber peons instead of the gold peons? Yes. But the peons are just doing a lot of good damage soak. Ultimately, my opponent's level 2 Shadow Hunter was a liability this game. My Shadow Hunter was just able to survive a little bit longer, but you get level 6 Blademaster. At this point, you gotta go. Well, you probably don't even go Bladestorm because you don't have the mana, but look at this game. I mean, if the peons weren't here, this army is able to move a lot more free. If the peons aren't here, like, that's very helpful for me. I'm really trying to get these kills here because this is a, you know, Dota situation. All this is just experience. When you have hero levels at this point, it's just all free experience. Is my opponent going to lose his Blademaster here? I hope so. Come on, get there. It's crazy to put into perspective how tired you are after a game like this, right? Like, look at that. I'm trying desperately. Chase him, nice. So we get the kill, and this is still not, you know, this game, my peons at this point, I'm like, okay, peons, go back to work, right? Yeah, I have no gold mining, and my opponent is actually about to run out of gold. You get the buyback here, but it was not very well orchestrated. The buyback, I don't think that was worth it. Maybe you just instead build the Shadow Hunter back from the altar. But this is another low health unit situation. Can my Walker kill that Walker? Please do. Come on, Walker, get it. Now we have a Blademaster snipe. Oh, he gets the healing potion. So my they were just chasing each other, but my opponent buys a mana potion and he's out. So we have Blademaster duels going on. Meanwhile, I have like tatters in my base. I have no gold, no units, and yet my opponent seems to still keep his army. And what does my opponent do here? Fountain of Health. So, man, I've learned something from this replay already. I can't forget the Fountain of Health exists. In this situation, I have. It has completely skipped my mind. And meanwhile, I'm just trying to, I suppose, get the things I need. I know this is going to be one of those Dota situations where I'm getting mana, I'm getting a healing potion, I'm getting a Raider and a Walker, right? We have some decent heroes, and we really need to stick it to my opponent right now. If you were to watch this and see my opponent has an army and I don't, it's actually like hard to see how this game's going to go by, but this seems to be the big moment. My opponent decides to harass with the Blademaster. Good decision here, but we have to remember, like, is the gold really the thing that's going, like, is this game going to go late? No, neither of us have expanded. So in actuality, I don't think the economy is the play here. I think instead, choosing to creep like this, no, because now it's Blademaster versus no Blademaster, and I seize this opportunity. I see the fact that his Blademaster's in my base, so you know I'm just going straight for the Shadow Hunter. He windwalks back immediately because he knows that has to happen, but I have level 3 windwalk as well, and the mana potion. We get the Hex, we get the kill, and you guys know what's going to happen. I hope you do. We get the kill into the Blade Storm. Love a Blade Storm, and I really do think this game ultimately came down to just some decisions, right? Like, decisions to retreat at the right time, but also fight at the right time. It eventually came down to a micro battle, and you see the micro battle happening right now. Walker, turns out having one Spirit Walker is pretty important. All the damage that this Walker has absorbed is from Spirit Link. So think about this. Every time oh, look at that, 50 damage, 40 damage. Those two crits were just negated huge by my Spirit Walker. Do you see that? So if your heroes are dying in Orc versus Orc Mirror, just remember the Spirit Walker is a huge unit in this game. It's just a really important unit. So now, yeah, it turns out having a Blademaster with mana matters. So I put the items on my Shadow Hunter here because this is a game where if I lose my Shadow Hunter, I lose. So we go boots, ring, circlet. Let's get some more health there. My opponent correctly, what does you do? Yeah, you just have to go for the Shadow Hunter. It's your only chance. Get some crits, but nah. We see him. We get the Hex. We get the Ensnare. And it's a game well G'd. So, hey, shout-outs to you, Dito. Loved those matches. I'm still my goal of breaking 1500 MMR. That's the goal, guys. We've been really enjoying the activity on the channel lately. Love to see subscriber growth. And I just want to give a big shout outs to everyone who enjoys RTS as much as I do. Everyone who enjoys Warcraft 3 as the beautiful effort-based game it is, right? In today's world, there's so many games that try to be auto-scrollers, auto-battlers, AFK this and that. You know, sometimes I really enjoy how much Warcraft 3 asks of you, even if it makes queuing up to ranked sometimes a little difficult, right? Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, sign up for the next one, subscribe. I'll see you later.